There's a ton of different retro effects out there, from emulating tape medium to mimicking old speaker cabinets. When you have a desired result in mind for your project, then it's fairly easy to find a specific plugin for the job. However, if you want a selection of these plugins to work with and experiment with, it can become a costly venture, with many of them specialising on a particular medium. For example, plugins that replicate vinyl character or a specific classic reverb. Building a collection of these expensive plugins might not be an option for everyone. Thankfully, uJam have created a beautiful vintage-inspired multi-effects plugin called Finisher Retro. This all-in-one is simply wonderful to use and to look at and listen. It offers 4 whole decades worth of retro-inspired effects and emulations from the 1960s and onwards that are sure to have all of your old-school vibes covered. Let's see what Finisher Retro by uJam has to offer. Finisher Retro by uJam delivers a fantastic array of luscious sounding effects inspired by the later decades of the 20th century. From reverbs and delays, tape hitters and tube effects, this beautiful looking and sounding plugin will blow you away. Just like the other finishers by uJam, Retro offers 50 modes and 4 tweakable variation knobs. The powerful finisher knob at the centre of the user interface makes complex effect chains easy to control. The Vari knob number 4, Colour, is the same in all modes, while the other 3 Vari knobs vary in each individual mode. There's a lot to discover with effect algorithms, from decay to delay, and age or release date to speed and stereo width. With 50 modes presented in 4 decades and 100 presets to get you going, Finisher Retro will bring you hours of satisfaction. Finisher Retro's models are presented in decades, from 60s, 70s, 80s or the 90s. Each mode is carefully crafted by uJam sound engineers to give you an authentic snapshot of a great sound from that decade. Let's start in the 60s and try some of these out. I like the grit and character you get from these. They can add a lot to your sounds, and personally I would use them very subtly. Because of the way they compress and degrade the signal, I like to use the colour here to add a bit of brightness back into the high end. As we enter into the 1970s section, things start to get more creative and complex. There's a lot more phases and chorus effects in this section. And I really like the plate reverb in here. It has a beautiful depth about it. Now let's move into the 80s. I think there's some really diverse modes in this section that all have quite a unique sound. I love how versatile Finisher Retro is and how many different effects there are in here. These delays are my favourite in the 80s section. I think they have a really interesting sound and character. Finally, let's get into the 90s, where things are starting to get a bit more modern. Found here are some other effects a bit different to the previous ones, like the rage pitch pedal, which I think could be used to create some amazing build-ups and rises. The Subharmonics is great for low end and bass control. In this section is my favourite of them all, and that's the Singalong Pitch mode. Using this on a deep bass sound to add a higher harmonic sounds incredible. I think this technique could be well adopted by the bass heads out there. Finisher Retro by UJAM also has this healthy list of presets to get you started, and both looks and sounds fantastic. It's incredibly easy to use and such great value for money. It's going to have you covered in a lot of situations. This retro plugin is in fact very modern. If you enjoyed the video, then please hit the subscribe button. Check out the description below for links to Finisher Retro by UJAM and other things of interest. Thanks for watching.
I keep on listening to your love.